Hello everyone! Today we're going to be talking about the distributive property. So this is another property that we have whenever we're dealing with real numbers. So this is going to be one that we're going to rely heavily on whenever we start solving 1- and 2-step equations. So if you have any issues with it, you're going to have to tell me immediately. So as normal, you should also have a packet of notes in the folder that you found in this video. Go ahead and get those out from class, or go ahead and print those out so you can take notes along with me. Once you're finished, and once the video is finished, I need you to upload a picture of your completed notes to Google Classroom in order for you to get points. And I need you to go ahead and keep those in your binder for if and when we return to the classroom full time. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started. So the distribution property is really, I think, easy to understand. It's simply multiplication. So if we look down here, we have A times the quantity B plus C. And whenever I say the quantity of B plus C, I mean that B plus C is in parentheses. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute this A. And by distribute, I mean the A is going to be multiplied by everything that's inside. So we're going to take A times B, which is AB. Whatever the sign is on the inside, so in this case it's going to be a plus. And then we're going to take A and we're going to multiply it by C. So that means we have AB plus A times C. And that's going to be that's going to be if we have B plus C. Now we also have B minus C. So we can have A times B and A times C. So in this case, we'll have AB minus, because the minus sign is inside the parenthesis, and then AC. And that's it. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through some examples, and then further on, we're going to talk about how to use the distributive property so we can simplify expressions and get it to where it looks a lot prettier. Alright, so with number 1, we have 7 times x plus 4. So we have to distribute the 7. So the 7 is going to be multiplied to the x, and it's going to be multiplied to the 4. So if we simplify that, or if we distribute the 7, we should have 7 times x, which is 7x, the sign, which is plus, and then 7 times 4 gives us 28. And we're done with number 1. It's that easy. Number 2, we have 2 times the quantity b minus 3. So we're going to take the 2 and we're going to distribute it. So we have 2 times b and 2 times 3. So 2 times b is 2b. The sign that's in the parentheses, so this is going to be minus, and 2 times 3 is 6. And since we don't have anything else that we can combine like terms with, like we did in the last video, then we're done. So number 2 is finished. Moving on to number 3. We have negative 4 multiplied by y plus 3. So that means this negative 4 is going to be distributed onto the y and the 3. So we have negative 4 times y, which is negative 4y. And whatever sign is in the middle, which is plus, we have negative 4 multiplied by 3. Negative 4 multiplied by 3 gives us a negative 12. And if we're adding a negative, it's the same thing as just subtracting. So we have negative 4y minus 12. And we're done. Number 4, we have negative 5 times m minus 2. We're going to distribute the negative 5. So negative 5 multiplied by m gives us negative 5m. The sign that's in the middle, or in the parentheses, which is minus. And what's negative 5 multiplied by 2? Well, negative 5 multiplied by 2 is negative 10. And to simplify, if we subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding, so we're going to change these to add signs. And this is our final answer since we can't combine any like terms. Number 5, we have a negative sign outside of parentheses. So that means that we're going to imagine that this is a negative 1 on the outside. And we have to distribute this negative 1. So we have negative 1 multiplied by y and negative 1 multiplied by 9. So negative 1 multiplied by y gives us negative y. Then we have the sign from in between the numbers in the parentheses. And then we have negative 1 multiplied by 9. That gives us negative 9. We're not done yet. Since we have a subtraction and a negative, we can change that to addition. So that means that our answer is negative y plus 9. So if you have a negative sign on the outside and it's just a negative sign, what you're going to do is you're going to distribute it as a negative 1. Number 6, we have 8 times the quantity of 4 minus b. We have to distribute the 8, so we have 8 times 4 and 8 times b. 8 times 4 gives us 32. Then we have the sign in the middle, minus. 8 times b gives us 8b. Since we can't combine any like terms, we're done with number 6, so we can move on. Number 7, we have negative 4 multiplied by negative w minus 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the negative 4. So we have negative 4 multiplied by negative w, and then negative 4 multiplied by 10. So negative 4 multiplied by negative w, since they're both negatives, it's going to be a positive. So we're going to have positive 4w minus negative 4 multiplied by 10 gives us negative 40. And to finish this off, since we're subtracting a negative, it's the same thing as adding. So our final answer is 4w plus 40. Number 8, we have 5 times 2m minus 3. We have to distribute the 5, so we're going to have 5 times 2m and 5 times 3. 5 times 2m, well, we're just going to multiply the coefficients, so we have 5 times 2, which is 10, and then we have the m. Then we have whatever the sign is inside the parentheses, so this is negative or minus, and 5 times 3 is 15. And we're finished with number 8. Moving on to number 9. We have negative 3 multiplied by 2x minus 4. So this negative 3 has to be distributed to the 2x and the 4. So we have negative 3 multiplied by 2x and negative 3 multiplied by 4. So negative 3 multiplied by 2x, well, negative 3 multiplied by 2 is negative 6x minus negative 3 multiplied by 4 is negative 12. Since we have two negatives, it makes a positive. So our final answer is negative 6x plus 12. Number 10. We have 3 times the quantity m plus n. We have to distribute the 3. So we have 3 times m and 3 times n. So if we distribute this, we have 3 times m, so 3m plus 3 times n. And since these letters are different, the variables are different, we cannot add these together. So that means that we do not have any like terms to combine. And this is our final answer. Moving on to 11. This time we have a variable on the outside being distributed. Just know that the same rules apply. So we're going to take x and we're going to distribute it onto the y and the 4. So x times y is just x, y. We take whatever the operation is between the two. So it's plus, and x times 4 is 4x. And since both of these do not have x and y, we cannot combine like terms, so 11 is xy plus 4x, and that's our final answer. Moving on to number 12. we have d times the quantity c minus 4. So this d is going to be distributed onto the c and onto the 4. So d times c is dc. The sign in the middle is a minus. So we're going to have d times 4, which is 4d. And since we do not have a c for this term, we cannot combine these two. So we're going to leave it as is. And we have dc minus 4d as our final answer. I'm going to move down just a little bit. So we have 13. We have 6a multiplied by b plus 2c. Again, it does not matter what's on the outside. We're just going to distribute it. So we have the 6a. We're going to multiply it by b. And 6a multiplied by 2c. All right. So first thing, 6a multiplied by b is just 6ab. We take the sign that's in between. So that's plus. And 6a multiplied by 2c. Well, since we're multiplying two things with variables, we're going to multiply the coefficients. So what's 6 times 2? It's 12. And then our variables are a and c. And since this is not ac and this is not ab, and they don't have the same variables in common, we cannot combine like terms, and this is our final answer. Moving on to 14. Something's changed. Instead of just having two things in the middle, we have 3. So we have 2 times x minus y plus 8. We're going to take it one step at a time. So we have the 2. We're going to distribute it to the x. That gives us 2x. Then we have 2, and we're going to distribute onto the y. That gives us 2y. We're going to take whatever the symbol is in between the x and the y, and we're going to put it down here. And then finally we have 2 times 8, which gives us 16, and we're going to put whatever the symbol is between the y and the 8, which is plus. And since we don't have any like terms, we don't have to combine anything, so this right here is going to be our final answer. 15 is similar to 14, so again we have 3 things inside the parentheses, so we have to distribute the x. So we have x times 2y, which is 2xy. Then we have whatever the symbol is, so minus x times 5z. That gives us 5xz. And then we have x times 1, but don't forget about the symbol, so it's plus. And x times 1 is just x. And since we don't have anything that has the common variables, well, you may say that this has an x, this has an x, and this has an x. But since we're missing a y on this one and a y on this one, we can't combine them. So they have to be exactly the same. So they all have to have xy or xz. But since they don't, we cannot combine them, and 15 stays how it is. Now, this part is probably going to be the one that you hate the most, because we're dealing with fractions again. So this fraction is on the outside of the parentheses, so that means we have to distribute the fraction. So we have 1/4 multiplied by 8x. That's the same thing as saying 8 divided by 4x minus, because that's the symbol out here, 1/4 multiplied by 4. And if we go ahead and simplify that, that means we have 4 divided by 4. Now we have to simplify this just a little bit. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. We have x, and then 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we have 2x minus 1. So, just to recap, if we have a fraction multiplied by a whole number, let's say the fraction is 1/4 multiplied by 8. What we do is we change the whole number into a fraction. So we put it over 1. And then we multiply straight across. So 1 times 8 is 8. And 4 times 1 is 4. That is how I got this right here. And I did the same thing for this one. Alright. Moving on to number 17, we have another fraction. So we have 1/6 multiplied by the quantity 3 over 5x plus 18. So we're going to take the 1/6 and we're going to distribute it onto everything inside. So 1/6 multiplied by 3 over 5x plus 1/6 multiplied by 18. And we just have to simplify this. So 1/6 multiplied by 3/5. We multiply straight across, so 1 times 3 gives us, I'm going to write really small, so we have 3 over 6 times 5 is 30. Then we have the x plus, we have to change this into a fraction, so 18 over 1, and then we multiply straight across, so that's 18 over 6. And if we simplify this, 3 over 30 simplifies to 1 over 10 x plus 18 over 6 simplifies to just 3. So this right here is our answer for number 17. Number 18. We have negative 1/8 being multiplied by 4/5 x minus 24. So we're going to take this negative 1/8 and we're going to distribute it onto the 4 over 5x. So I'm going to write over here to the side, we have negative 1/8 times 4/5 x. Then we're going to put whatever sign is here. So this is negative or minus. Let's make that look like a minus sign. Alright, then we have negative 1/8 multiplied by 24. So we have negative 1/8 multiplied by 24. And if we simplify these, so since there's two fractions being multiplied together, we're just going to multiply straight across. So negative 1 multiplied by 4 gives us negative 4 over 8 times 5 is 40. This is an x. Then we have, well, let's go ahead and do this. Since we're subtracting a negative, we can change this to a plus. So I have this sign right here. Let me fix that. Change this to plus. So now we have two fractions. I changed the 24 into a fraction by putting it over 1. We have to multiply straight across. So what's 1 times 24? Well, 24. And what's 8 times 1? That's 8. We have one more step. Since we have negative 4 over 40, that can reduce to negative 1 over 10. And then that's an x plus 24 divided by 8 is 3. So that means that this right here is our final answer for number 18. So let's move on to simplifying expressions whenever we have to distribute. So to simplify an expression, we are looking to get rid of all parentheses and combine all the like terms. So what we have to do is distribute first and then combine like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your problems that you have to do. You have to do number 20 by yourself, number 21 by yourself, and let's have you do number 24 by yourself. Alright, so number 19. We have 8 multiplied by 2x minus 3 minus 6. First step is to distribute the 8. So we have 8 times 2x. That gives us 16x. We have the symbol, so that's minus. 8 times 3, which is 24. Then we tack on the minus 6x. Now we have to combine like terms. So everything with an x is going to get added together. So we have 16 minus 6. That's the same thing as 10x. We're done with this one and this one. And minus 24, since this is the only constant, we just pull it down. And this is our final answer. Alright, moving on to number 22. So, this time we have two distributions that we have to do. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull down the 6 plus. And then we can go ahead and distribute. So we have the 8 times 4w. That's the same thing as 32w. Then the minus sign. Then 8 times 7, which is 56. Alright. Then, before we do anything else, we have to distribute this negative sign. So that means we're going to imagine there's negative 1 here, and we're going to distribute it. So it's negative 1 multiplied by 2w. Well, that's negative 2w. And negative 1 multiplied by 1 gives us negative 1. So what we have to do is combine all like terms. So let's combine the constants first. So we have 6 minus 56 minus 1. If we combine those, we're going to have, let's see, 6 minus 56. Well, that's the same thing as 50, or negative 50. Alright. And negative 50 minus 1 is negative 51. So we have negative 51. And we're done with the constants. Now we have the variables with w. So we have 32w minus 2w. Well, that's 30w. And just because I'm picky, I like to see the variables first. So I'm going to move this around to where it's 30w minus 51. And remember that I'm able to do this because of the commutative property. And I can say that since negative 51 stays negative 51 and 30w stays 30w, I'm able to do this. So I want your answers to always have the variable first and then have the constant. Alright, moving on to number 23. This one involves fractions again. I know, fun time. So what we're going to do is we have to distribute this 9/4. So, distribute it. So we have 9 over 4 multiplied by 10 over 3x minus 9 over 4 times 4. Alright. Then we're going to have this guy minus, let's distribute this negative 1/4. So we're going to distribute this negative 1/4 onto the 2x and onto the negative 8. So that means we're going to have negative 1/4 times 2x. And then since we have a negative multiplied by a negative, or a minus sign subtracting a negative sign, that means that it's going to change to plus, and we have 1/4 multiplied by 8. Now we just have to simplify. If we multiply these two fractions, we multiply straight across, so we have 9 times 10, which is 90, over 4 times 3, which is 12, x minus, we change this 4 into a fraction by putting it over 1. 9 times 4 is 36, over 4 times 1 is 4. Then we're going to change this 2 into 2 over 1 and multiply straight across. So minus 1 times 2 is 2, over 4 times 1 is 4, x plus, going to change this 8 into 8 over 1, multiply straight across, so we have 8 over 4, and now we just have to simplify. So 90 over 12 can be reduced to 15 over 2x, and negative 36 over 4 can be reduced to negative 9. this one, which is negative 2/4, can be reduced to negative 1/2 x. And then 8/4 can be reduced to 2. And now we just have to combine like terms. So let's combine everything with an x. So that means that we have 15 over 2x minus 1 over 2x. So since we have that they have a common denominator, we can just say what's 15 minus 1? Well, that gives us 14 over 2x, and we're done with these two. And now we have to combine the constants, where we have negative 9 plus 2, which gives us negative 7. And then we just have to simplify this guy. So since we have 14 over 2, that reduces to 7x, and we have minus 7. And that is our final answer. Alright, so the only problems that you have to do by yourself are number 20, 21, and 24. If you have any questions, please let me know as soon as possible, and I hope you have a wonderful day.